Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we are still in Garlemald, and I think we just convinced the First Legion to surrender and work with us? After we informed them that their allies they've been awaiting will not come. Anyway, let's look around quickly. Thank goodness the 10th Legion decided to sue for peace when they did. We have been spared more since this bloodshed, which is the last thing anyone, including the First, needs. From their perspective, though, the promise of reinforcement was their last hope. Now we have no choice but to capitulate to the invaders. But we will prove to them that all is not lost and we yet stand a chance of casting out the Telophoroi. Even with the Empire in ruins, the Guardians have not lost the will to fight. That strength shall serve them in days to come. There is yet life in this cold soil. It was a grave error not to post sentries farther from the camp. Had we seen the Guardians sooner, we could have slain them long before the truce was called. They engaged us of their own free will and deserve to die warriors' deaths. Even so, I have not forgotten why we are here, and I will stay my hand. For now. When the Imperials charged upon us, we were able to avoid any serious injuries on either side, and with most of the Guardians were in no condition to fight. Sunken eyes, hollow cheeks. It's definitely been a long time since they had a decent meal. I'm sure they will be much more amenable to conversation with food in their bellies. I've just returned from guarding the airships, and now I've got to keep an eye on the captured Imperials. Maybe a bit of chit-chat will help lighten the mood? We will make no attempt to resist. Much and more has occurred since last we met. As for determining what comes next, we must speak with Lord Quintus. And as we have just seen, or last episode in the cutscene, I doubt we'll be talking to Lord Quintus again. Strange bedfellows. Before we proceed, tell me what you know of the First Legion and the disposition of their forces. They are prepared for war while the refugees in their care were left to go hungry. A reckless, short-sighted plan that risks the welfare of the people they are sworn to protect. Nevertheless, we cannot compel them to accept our aid. If we were to arrive in force with the intent to do so, we would only incite panic, but perhaps they can be persuaded to follow one of our own? Go with Yulos back to the station and have them lead the refugees here. Some may be unwilling or unable to leave, but for the time being, I take what I can get. Alphino, Alize and the scouts sent to extricate them should already be at the station. I will also have our other comrades in the area lend their support should I need it. Understood. And all the way back here because the airfreight is not yet attuned. Look, cars. Good. What are you doing back here? Where's Yulos and the others? Oh, I did not expect you to arrive so soon. There's been a development. Perhaps you'd best see for yourself. 'Tis a comfort to see we none for worse for our recent ordeals. Desiree and Yulos? We arrived just before you did, and too late. Too late for what? What happened? It's Lord Quintus. He took his own life. After the news about the 10th, he relieved us of our duties. Then, when he was alone, he... No. No, he wouldn't. Thancred and the others, assisted by the soldiers, have seen to the remains. In due course shall the legatus be afforded a proper burial. He released us from our duty. He wanted us to be free. Free to choose our own fate. Without him to guide us, I've just this moment spoken with Lucia. We are ready to commence the transfer of the refugees here to Camp Broken Glass, should they be willing to accept our aid. Some would rather die. But most of us just want to live. Songs and standards be damned, we just want to live. We need to speak with the refugees. They'll have to decide for themselves if they wish to come with us. If any would prefer to stay, we can have supplies brought over for them. It'll be a hard journey for the others, but we'll see they reach our camp safely. Huh? That's what happened to his family. The first was all Ulysses had left. Now even that's been taken away from him. He's not alone in that either. There's a comfort in having someone to follow. Someone to lead. To think that we'd end up taking the First Legion themselves, or the remains of them, into our care. Not so long ago, such a thing would have been inconceivable. But these are strange times indeed. Leave these fiends to my brothers and I. We'll waste them to the ground with our most devastating magic. I hope that Isabel continue actually makes some kind of difference around here. We have the roads covered, don't you worry. Things may get chaotic out there, but just take it slow and steady as you can, alright? It was only ever a dream, wasn't it? To think we could reclaim it. Rebuild it all ourselves. Before all this began, I sent my wife and daughter away to the provinces. If there's a chance I might see them again, I'd take it, so take me. Take me with you, please. If I can attune. Well, got the airfreight sorted in the end. All it took was a few adjustments. And now it works as well as it ever did. From what I can tell, the one in Laterum is also functioning as normal. That's really a lot of staying, isn't it? Now that most of us are packing up and leaving this place, I reckon there will be more of use for me and my skills over at your camp. And the blood spot remains on the flag. Why? This is where it happened. Best not to dwell on it. Not when there's work to be done. Everything is going to be alright now. To employ healing magics now would likely invite catastrophe, as our cancer test from my experiences at Victor's spoils. Indeed, the Guardians view our ability to manipulate air with the same suspicion as many Eorzeans do Magitech. It's you, the one who treated me with such kindness. I heard from the others that you're not from around here. Thought you were one of us. Not that it makes much difference now. Purebloods, migrants, savages. After a while, the world starts to lose meaning, until all you have left with is anger and fear and hate, and I'm too tired. If you and yours have come to offer aid, I'd be glad to accept. I know not how to offer encouragement or solace to these poor souls, but if it's safe passage to our camp they need, I'd gladly oblige. We have much to discuss. Our rescue, the attack on Camp Broken Glass, what we'd hoped to talk about with Quintus. But all of that can wait. More urgent matters demand our attention. Are any of the refugees willing to come to our camp? Thank the 12th. Thank the 12th. You and I should go first and secure the route back to Camp Broken Glass. With all the creatures and tempered skulking about, I expect we have our hands full. This should come in handy. Conqueror's Chain, courtesy of our Lominson friends. I'd save it for the tempered though. Not the fiends. I'll mark a few points that need surveying on your map. Once you've taken care of a riffraff, we'll meet back at our camp. I will stay with the refugees and do what I can to protect them. While I have no doubt that you and Thancred will do a fine job clearing the path, we must be ever vigilant for threats that may have slipped the net. Well met, traveler. Might it interest you in a chocobo porter? Ah, do not tell me. This is your first visit to this stop? This is the first one this stop exists, so yeah? You know, in retrospect, it isn't perhaps not the best decision to come to Garlemald as a mage class. Maybe I should have come here as a gunbreaker or something. But what's done is done. Now I'm here. Rather aggressive. Oh, that's a pipeline on the map. Ah, wait. To use the ability here. No animation for this one? In previous instances where we had that conquest chain at an animation, so kind of Holmgang-like one. You see no threats. Don't I? Really not? Are you certain? Hey, Thancred. Ah, there you are. As expected, I went to a few beasts who went down without much of a fight. The temple proved somewhat troublesome, but was changed to keep them under control until our allies take them into custody. With that taken care of, I'm to gather a few supplies and then return to the station. But I see to that, would you mind apprising Lucia of our progress? As it happens, I have some rather pertinent information from our recent scouting forays, but I save that for later. First things first and all that. Welcome back. I hope they haven't been working you too hard. It's no use taking in all these Guardians if we're going to let them freeze to death. We need heat, for goodness sake. I knew I should have brought more warming tinctures. We shall have the heaters ready before long. The problem of this dreadful cold address, I imagine the meaners may change for better. I plan to make heaters enough for not only the camp, but for those who have chosen to remain at the station as well. Got? More people at the camp means more bodies to keep warm. The smiths have been scrambling to get enough heating for everyone, and we've got people searching for firewood in case it comes to that. Now for the true test of our abilities. It's up to the Order to make sure that the Guardians are well looked after. Guided on the other bards will help secure the route from Tertium. With their keen eyesight and mastery of a bow, they have a perfect candidates for such a task. You and the twins gave us all a good fright, you know. I reckon you'd be better off not going so far afield again. Wouldn't want you wandering beyond earshot of my dulcet tones, would we? If you hope to benefit from my song, you'd best stay close. Never know when your spirits might be in need of a lift. Yeah, because Bart. Oh, Desiree, I cannot tell you how glad I am to see you returned. Fear not, we have kept the camp safe in your absence, and shall continue to do so. Pray warm yourself by the fire and leave guard duty to us. Bonbon? I heard what happened and I'm glad you're alright. Look, I know there's still a lot to do, but try and save your strength till it's needed, huh? The same as we previously had. News regarding the 10th came shortly after we first left with Ulysses. From that, we were able to deduce that the first was somewhere within the capital. We were, however, only able to verify this once you had made contact with Thancred. Ah, Desiree, I was informed of Quintus's suicide. It must have come as a great shock to his men. What of the refugees? I'm told some were receptive to our proposal, but would hear your first-hand account. That so many did not hesitate to accept proves how desperate their situation has become. We do our best to make them feel welcome. The troops who participated in the ambush are no exception. They will be afforded the same treatment as any other refugee, perfidy notwithstanding. After all, even if I wanted to make an example of them, there's no one left to learn from it. We will tell our allies that these soldiers were acting under the direct orders of their legatus, and that following his suicide they offered a full and unconditional surrender. Perhaps Quintus thought that, had he lived, he would be tried as a war criminal and his men punished with him. Perhaps by taking his own life he hoped to absolve him of any culpabilities. Or perhaps, like too many others, he was a true believer to the end. Who can say? I didn't know the man or his heart. His reasons, noble or otherwise, died with him, and it falls to us to clean up the mess. In from the cold. Now, if this is the one I think it is, I will make a cut in between here. I assume you're curious about how matters have progressed here in our absence? Quite well, as it happens. Now that we've procured ceruleum from Tepper's den, the recently repaired heaters can provide much needed warmth. Furthermore, we've prepared sufficient food for everyone. Those from Persia shall find a hot meal waiting upon their arrival. There's one for you, so go ahead and get some well-earned rest. I believe that we're capable of wielding a ladle or two without your assistance. On your way, might I ask you to seek out Stoller? She was but recently attending to the wounded, but she's meant to be taking a rest herself. See what she is. Yes, I have been taking proper breaks and imbibing sufficient water. But what of a warrior of light? You and the twins have an established history of reckless disregard of your own well-being. We're all fortunate that none of you landed yourselves in my care. I've already quite enough to deal with between the tempered and the first wounded. Alas, though I can mend their bodies, the toll their experiences have taken on their hearts and minds is another matter altogether. For their sakes, we mustn't waver, nor must we rush ahead in eagerness to see the day won, and in so doing invite disaster. Upon settling down for supper, several cutscenes will play in sequence. It is recommended that you set aside sufficient time to view these scenes in their entirety. Yeah.
Is that all of them?
The last of those who agreed to join us, yes.
We left heaters and provisions for those who wish to stay behind. They won't last forever, but hopefully they'll last long enough.
For now, I think everyone's earned a rest. We'll see to those in need of medical attention, so take the others with you and get yourselves some hot soup.
Alberic and Astinian. All these little background characters are really nice. All the people we knew beforehand.
Warmth. At last.
Marvelous, isn't it? All thanks to the resourceful machinists of Ishgard, I might add. On their behalf, I bid you warm yourself to your heart's content.
Hold on. Your people might have scribbled a few things on a piece of parchment, but it was Owl and Minson Smiths that put the bloody things together.
Well, be that as it may, we single-handedly got the interior heating up and running again, didn't we?
The hells you did! We were there every step of the way.
We? You barely raised a finger to help, you ale-sodden reprobate.
I did a damn sight more than you, you lily-livered bilge rat.
Take that back.
Make me.
I will not stoop to your level.
Here. At ease, man. There's nothing funny in it. I'm from Alamigo, but was a conscript until recently. Used to eat this with the officers.
Apparently, it's adapted from a steppe recipe. This is my first time trying it, and I have to say, it's not half bad.
It's a bit too flavorful for my liking.
Perhaps compared to what you're used to.
It's the little things that make life worth living, don't you think?
I know this is not a dream, and yet... I felt the same way at the Dragon Song War's end. Every morning I would step outside and need to be reminded that it wasn't my imagination, that my world had been forever changed. And just as I had grown accustomed to the idea, again you change my world in ways I never thought possible. Were it not for you and your fellow scions, the rifts between man and dragon and myriad tribes might never have been bridged. The Grand Company of Eorzea, the Ilsabard contingent, we owe it all to you.
And when she mentioned myriad tribes, I suddenly remember I haven't finished some of the Shadowbringers tribes. Something to be done, right?
We've shed many tears in recent days, of pain and sorrow, triumph and joy. I much prefer the latter.
As do I.
I'm honored to fight by your side. As an Eorzean and Garlean both, I shall do all in my power to bring my peoples together.
It is a remarkable achievement. Everything that I and the Populares had hoped for, and more.
Would that it had come sooner.
At not so high a price.
Indeed. Too many are not here to see it. And yet, there is a warmth in my breast, as if they still share in this moment.
Yes, I know what you mean. On a night like tonight, the wind and cold seem to pass me by.
Blue. Happiness? Oh crap.
On behalf of the Gallian Empire, thank you for inviting me today.
What? Emperor Varys?
They're being tempered.
They are being tempered. The talismans! Quickly!
Save me, brave hero!
Oh crap.
Ahem. My lord has requested your presence, and I would hate to disappoint him.
And I won.